Ciao a tutti! Hi everybody, this is Marcello from Vito, Italy. Today I want to talk about something which is uniting our country as it does with many other countries around the world, and that's our language. In Italy, so many travelers are just marveled and amazed at the variety of the Italian language, with its different dialects, but also different words. Sometimes they change in no more than 10 kilometers. So we've always been told that Italian comes from Latin, but is it really true? And even so, how can it be so varied across the country? Well, let me tell you a story about the Italian language, or better, I would say, the languages of Italians. And let's start from the beginning. As you know, each language is a fossil, and at the same time it's continuously renewing. So the past lives every day in our present, hidden in the folds of words. Just as through the study of archaeological remains, we can guess about the settlements and reconstruct monuments of the distant past. So through the study of languages, we can uncover the past and devise some chronology. And there is a branch of the human sciences which is called linguistics, and which studies the evolution of languages. And retracing the evolution of language, of Latin language in Europe, is a very funny and very intriguing and very stimulating task. So linguistic scholars have reconstructed the path of the Latin language in different modern languages. Just think that Latin was the language spoken throughout the Roman Empire. It was the language of law and language of commerce, and as the provinces were assimilated, Latin took the place of the local language. So was it in Spain, in France, and even in far distant countries as Romania. However, Latin was not the only universal language spoken within the empire. There was another very important language, the language of the scholars, the language of philosophy, and that was Greek. The Romans looked at Greece as the seat of the best philosophy and science. And great philosophers such as Aristotle, or historians such as Herodotus, were a model for all the writers and the philosophers of the empire. So there were two large linguistic areas, in Western Europe Latin and in Eastern Europe Greek. Just take for example the Gospels, okay? The versions that we know today, although in the case of Mark and Matthew, they have an Aramaic origin, that is the language that Jesus spoke, were written in Greek to facilitate its spread in the eastern part of Europe and the Middle East. So Latin was a living language, a language in movement, a language which evolved, like English is today. Think of British or American English, or even African English now. A language that started from the center and branched out to the periphery, and which sometimes from the periphery came back to the center. And an example of this is the verb eat. In Italian we say mangiare, in French they say manger, but in Spanish it's comer. Why is that? That's because in Latin the verb comedere is older than the verb manucare. And the latter new word started from the center but failed to reach the peripheral areas of the empire, in particular Iberia, that's present-day Spain, which has preserved the older origin. An example of the return is the word cheese. From France, the innovation started, that's formaticus, then it became fromage in French and formaggio in Italian. But the Latin caseus remained marginal in the marginal areas, at the edge, So in Spanish is queso, and in English, the land of England, a marginal area, is cheese. So in this sense, the language that remained most adherent to its Latin roots is Romanian. Romania, from Rome, was conquered in the years between 101 and 106 by Emperor Trajan. And by the way, the Roman armies exterminated most of the local population, the Dacians, Daci. So the colonies spoke Latin, and it became the language of the area. And the linguistic innovations that departed in the 3rd centuries from Rome itself conquered Italy and Gaul, but did not reach the lateral areas such as Romania due to the fall of the empire. This is even more true for the so-called isolated areas, areas that retain the most archaic sections, because isolation allows the language to evolve less. It cuts it out of the pressures that come from outside. An example of this is Sardinia, where more archaic words remain. Sardinia is one of the most layered areas in Italy. Sardinian is a composite language that preserves ancient Mediterranean elements, which are Punic, North African, Greek, and Byzantine, and Arabic. And many are the Catalan and Spanish words, since the Spaniards dominated Sardinia for 4 centuries. But maybe the most stratified region in Italy is Sicily, due to the several different peoples which colonized it. Just consider the sequence of invaders and rulers of the island across the centuries. That's the Phoenicians in the 18th century BC, the Greeks from the 7th century BC, Romans from 212 BC, Vandals and Arabs from the 9th to the 11th century AD, Normans or Vikings in the 11th and 12th centuries, Spaniards for 4 centuries between 1282 and 1713, then Austrians, Bourbons, and finally the annexation to the King of Italy, where they spoke Italian but with a strong French influence. And this happened in 1861. So let me greet you with a sentence of Italy's most famous investigator, Andrea Camilleri's Commissario Montalbano, a Sicilian, who, when he wants to say that he's fed up with someone, he uses a Greek word, hai scassato I cabasisi. You broke, okay, I'm sure you understood it. Okay, that's all for today. Please follow us on any social media, and bye-bye, ciao ciao, ciao ciao.